So, today's practice is actually what we call an open awareness practice. And it's just slightly different from our usual practice, where instead of having a single point of focus and then really trying very hard to stay present and anchored with that single point of focus, and noticing when our mind wanders and bringing it back, and noticing when we get distracted and bringing it back, in an open awareness practice, what we're going to do is actually give ourselves permission to kind of watch where our mind wanders as it travels, noticing where it goes, what it's thinking about. And so a good rule of thumb in this practice is that if the distraction or the wandering is strong enough to pull you away from your anchor, and you'll have a choice of what your anchor is going to be, but if the distraction is strong enough to pull you away, then you're simply going to note it, maybe even label it, and then explore it for a little while, which I'll guide you through how to do, with the intention of being more like a detective. And your job is to sort of investigate and see if you can find some patterns, noticing maybe what's occupying your mind or what seems to be playing on repeat, or perhaps your top 10 list, if you will. And maybe these things that are occupying your mind might start to cause reactions, and seeing what that looks like. Maybe it's the reaction of more thoughts. Maybe it's the reaction of strong emotions, or maybe it's some uncomfortable sensations that you might notice in your body. Now, knowing in this practice that at any point, if it becomes too intense or it's just uncomfortable and you want to be able to let it go, that you are in control and you can always open your eyes, you can come back to your anchor, you can listen to my voice, and you can then begin again. So, allowing yourself to settle into a restful position, one that embodies relaxation but also attention. Allowing yourself to just take a couple of deep breaths. So just maybe calibrate yourself. With each inhale, perhaps settling in a little bit more comfortably. With each exhale, maybe letting out any areas of tension. And as you take a moment to intentionally breathe and settle in, just setting the intention to not be too uptight. Knowing that in this practice, you have a home base. Perhaps it's your breath that you'll choose to come back to as many times as you need to, or maybe it's a sensation of warmth in your hands, or the sensation of external sounds, or a point in your belly, or the support of your seat. And so taking just a moment to decide and notice what might be strongest for you right now and a good home base for you to intentionally choose. Now, once you've chosen a direction for your attention, just lightly commit to it by paying attention on purpose. Allowing yourself to stay with this anchor in a relaxed and easygoing manner. Just a simple concentration practice, paying attention on purpose to where your sensations are the strongest, in the breath, in the body, or in the sounds. And the longer we sit, the more chances there are that at any point, it may happen that some pattern of thought, some pattern of emotion, some pattern of distraction that seems quite familiar to you, or maybe completely new, sort of rises up almost like a large invisible whale, and gulp, in you go, swallowed whole and taken over by this pattern. Maybe it's a pattern of boredom, or maybe it's confusion. Whatever it is, just seeing if you can gently and non judgmentally just give it a label. Just note it. And you might also notice your reaction to the things that are coming up. Maybe if it's boredom, it's the feeling of, I don't like this. Maybe if it's confusion, it's questioning, am I doing this the right way? I'm just not sure. And again, just noting and labeling what you're experiencing, reminding yourself that there's no right or wrong, and then returning to your anchor and your home base. As you continue to watch, allowing yourself to stay curious, watching the mind. Each moment of hijack or distraction is a new learning opportunity. And with your anchor in your back pocket to use at any time, just allowing yourself to notice when the mind begins to check out, where does it go? Where does it check out to? Is it planning? Is it remembering? Is it predicting? Listing? Perhaps you might start to notice that it's external. Maybe you notice some sounds of digestion or thirst. Maybe there's itching or pain or sound. A general rule is that if it's strong enough to be able to pull you away from your anchor, then simply note it and explore it for a while. Maybe asking yourself, what is this? Does it have a name? What's my attitude towards it? And giving yourself permission to follow or investigate this pattern, and then the next pattern, and then the next, like a thought detective or a private investigator of consciousness. And when a pattern plays itself out or it gets too strong or intense, give yourself permission to go back to your anchor, reminding yourself that you are in control, kind of like practicing changing the channel and strengthening your intention to simply watch, to watch and notice, to watch, notice, and begin again. And as our practice comes to an end, knowing that this is something that we can do for shorter or longer periods of time, you might notice that it doesn't take long for the mind to start pumping thought, just like the heart pumps blood. And so, whether you have a minute or 10 or 20, this is a practice that you can use whenever you're looking to build on your awareness and develop a skillful response to your natural patterns. When you're ready, just bringing your awareness back into your space, starting to notice the sounds around you, perhaps opening your eyes and allowing yourself to look around, maybe jotting down some things that you noticed in your journal or a piece of paper that's lying next to you, and just spending a moment reflecting. When we're pattern busting, we allow ourselves to notice what's happening beneath the surface, maybe something that no one else can see. And sometimes we're not even able to see it ourselves until we choose to pay attention on purpose. And although it might be subtle at first, when we use our practice to watch and investigate, we can discover truths about our stories. We can learn to diffuse them before they become overly powerful and take over our hearts and our minds and our lives. So the next time that you want to bust your patterns, see what you can find by simply watching.